There's a moment in your life when something becomes clear, not all at once, not dramatically, but quietly, almost unmistakably. You know something needs to change. You can see it, you can feel it, and yet you haven't moved. In this space, it's easy to question yourself, to wonder if you're stuck or if you're missing something. In this episode, we're talking about the moment when you know it's time for change, but you're not moving yet, and how to understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. I invite you to grab your favorite beverage and settle in with me as we explore when you know it's time for change and you're still not moving.
Becoming the magnificence in me, empowered, strong, and gracefully. With poise and elegance, I can see I am who I was born to be.
Welcome to Becoming, Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment, a sanctuary for women who desire to live with purpose, grace, and quiet confidence. I'm Sine Lusinger, your host, author, and transformation guide. Gentlemen are welcome to listen in, but this space is intentionally crafted for the elegant woman becoming all she's meant to be. If this conversation resonates and you'd like focused private support, I invite you to explore private coaching. You can find more information anytime at becomingpublishing.com. Now, let's step into today's topic. You've outgrown something. You're no longer who you were, but your life hasn't caught up yet. This isn't the moment where you don't know what to do. It's the moment where you understand exactly what it will require. Many women come to me when they're in this exact place, where they've gained clarity, but they're not moving yet, and they're trying to understand why. This is the in-between moment of change. Let me explain the change process first, so you can see where this occurs. Many people get the wrong idea about change. They think you can take a pill or go get cut on and bam, you're transformed. No, you're not. That isn't real or lasting change. I think you're smart and experienced in life enough to know that change isn't possible overnight, even though many times it may seem like it happened very quickly. However, change really is a process. It has 6 stages. It's a little like taking a road trip. You have to first decide that you even want to go on a trip, know where you want to go, have a map, plot your routes, make sure you're going in the right direction, and change your course if or when needed. These are the stages and what they look like. Stage 1, pre-contemplation. A person is not yet acknowledging that there is a problem behavior that needs to be changed. They are often still practicing the behavior and would be in denial that there even is a problem, or they're defending the use of the behavior. Stage 2, contemplation. In this stage, a person acknowledges that there is a problem. That's where it ends. They are not yet ready to change or even sure if they want to make a change. Stage 3, preparation, determination. This is the stage where a person is getting ready to change. They devise a plan and get mentally and or physically ready to carry it out. Stage 4, action, willpower. This is the journey stage where behavior is changed day by day through doing the next right thing and being consistent in actions. Stage 5, maintenance. Once the behavior is changed, meaning that the goal is met, it must be maintained. A person can't achieve the goal, then abandon the behavior that got them the result if they want the result to be lasting. Stage 6, relapse. When a person returns to previous behaviors and abandons the new changes, all progress could be lost, and a person could end up in a more negative state than before. So, where does this moment you're in actually occur? If you're listening to this and recognizing yourself, you are most likely in stage 3, the preparation or determination phase, where you know what needs to change, but you haven't moved yet. One of the biggest reasons this happens is fear. So let's look at that more closely. Some of the fears that creep in include fear of loss, fear of disruption, fear of being wrong, fear of failure, Fear of success. Let's address fear before we go on. Now more than ever, I'm seeing people being ruled by fear. It's so imperative to understand that fear is the lowest vibrational energy there is. It can overtake a person and paralyze them, rendering them incapable of making the best decisions for their lives. Merriam-Webster defines fear as an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger, an instance of this emotion, a state marked by this emotion, anxious concern. Fear triggers the fight, flight, freeze response in the body. It also raises cortisol, which can cause weight gain. I'm always talking about how when we neglect going to the kingdom within, we give our power away to outside forces and people. If you want to be powerful in your own life, it's imperative to overcome fear. The only way to overcome and defeat fear is through using the highest vibrational energies of love, gratitude, joy, hope, faith, and peace. Anything or thought that doesn't feel right to you makes you nervous, anxious, and unable to think properly or unable to sleep is fear-based. Humans aren't born with fear, but we are susceptible to experiencing it. The good news is that we can overcome it by changing our thinking. Quote, fear can be a big stopper for many of us. Fear of fragility, fear of failure, fear of making a mistake, fear of what others might think, fear of success. We may second guess our next action or word until we talk ourselves out of participating in life, wrote Melanie Beattie in The Language of Letting Go. This can be a very frustrating time. This is not confusion. This is not the beginning. This is post-clarity, pre-movement. You're not at the beginning of the change process. You are standing on the edge of it. The good news is you are so powerful and you can change this all by taking action. You may take the action that seems appropriate and get no results. After allowing time to see if the results are delayed, you can pivot and take another action. I invite you to stay with me because next I'll show you what research and experts say about why this moment feels so difficult. If this conversation is resonating and you recognize yourself in what we're discussing, I invite you to apply for private coaching. I work privately with a small number of women each season who are ready to rebuild confidence, strengthen emotional boundaries, and make clear decisions in life and love. This is structured, focused work, not surface motivation. If you're navigating heartbreak or life transitions and you want grounded private support, you can apply at becomingpublishing.com. I personally review every application. Knowing doesn't automatically lead to action. Here's how research explains it. Psychologist Leon Festinger introduced the concept of cognitive dissonance in 1957, describing the discomfort we feel when our actions don't align with what we know to be true about ourselves. This creates emotional discomfort, which results in hesitation, not action. In this moment, when you can clearly see what needs to change, but you haven't moved yet, you're not confused. You're experiencing that internal conflict. Behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky found that people tend to feel losses more strongly than gains, a principle known as loss aversion, first outlined in their 1979 paper on prospect theory. Their findings clearly show that people feel loss more than they value gain. Even when change is better, the loss feels heavier. This means that even when change would improve your life, your mind is still calculating what you might have lost: comfort, familiarity, relationships, and that can make it harder to move forward. In his 2018 book, Atomic Habits, James Clear explains that lasting change is rooted in identity, not just behavior. So this moment isn't just about making a different decision. It's about becoming someone who lives differently, and that kind of shift can take time to step into. Most people tell me they want change, but I think what they really want is the results that change brings, and not necessarily to go through the process to get the results. Change requires becoming someone new, and the brain resists identity level change. It isn't that you don't know what to do. It's that your mind is weighing what you might lose just as heavily as what you might gain. This can trigger fear. So let's go back to that topic. As I mentioned before, we weren't born with fear. Extensive psychological research has been conducted on this topic for decades. Fear is a learned behavior, and like I always say, anything learned can be unlearned. Quotes, a primary fact to know about fear is that it is removable. Enthusiasm, with its immense mental and spiritual power, can cancel out all fear, wrote Norman Vincent Peale in Enthusiasm Makes the Difference. Fear can help us get out of danger and even avoid negative situations. However, negative thinking is rarely productive and often leads to conditions like anxiety disorder and panic disorder. It's my personal and professional opinion that fear is the basis of stress. We stress out over things because we're afraid of the negative outcomes. This could be the basis of why we don't take action to create positive change in our lives. Dr. Wayne Dyer said it well in his book, The Power of Intention, quote, there is no actual stress or anxiety in the world. It's your thoughts that create these false beliefs. When we think stressfully, we create reactions in the body, valuable messages or signals requesting our attention, he wrote. Scientific brain research by Joseph E. Ledoux out of New York University, published in 2014, defined fear as, quote, what happens when the sentient brain is aware that the personal well-being, physical, mental, social, cultural, existential, is challenged or may be at some point. What ties together all instances of fear is an awareness based on the raw materials available that danger is near or possible, he stated. Quote, it's been said that thoughts are things, that they actually possess dynamic power. You can actually think yourself into or out of situations. Think positively, for example, and you set in motion positive forces which bring positive results to pass, Peale wrote in The Power of Positive Thinking. We should always remember that fear is just another emotion, and emotions are meant to be observed, felt, and released. Quote, feel the fear, then let it go, advised Beatty in her book. Here's your secret weapon. Love is the most powerful energy of all. It is the only thing that can transmute fear. When we focus on love and the feeling of love, the fear is defeated. Researcher Brené Brown has written that real change often requires vulnerability, stepping into uncertainty and allowing yourself to be seen differently than you have before. That emotional exposure can feel uncomfortable, even when you know the change is right. What all of this shows us is that awareness doesn't immediately create action. It creates responsibility, and that responsibility can feel heavy when you understand what change will require of you. This is a time where you may be able to see clearly what needs to change, but you're not moving yet. If something in this conversation resonates with you, that moment deserves your attention. Sometimes it helps to step back and talk through what you're experiencing with someone who understands relationship patterns and emotional dynamics. The Clarity Reset is a private session designed to help you gain clarity about your situation and understand your next step. You can learn more or schedule any time without an application at becomingpublishing.com. I invite you to stay with me because next I'm going to show you how to move through this moment without losing your sense of direction. Many of the ideas we're exploring this season are expanded on in my newest book, Becoming Lavishly Loving, available on Spotify, my website, and most online booksellers. It explores intuition, emotional boundaries, and protecting your inner world with elegance. For women who are ready to apply this work in real time, not just understand it intellectually, I offer a private 3-month coaching container where we rebuild confidence and clarity from the inside out. You can learn more and apply at becomingpublishing.com. Here are some practical things you can start doing today to move when you already know it's time to make a change. 1. Stop waiting to feel ready. Clarity already means you're farther along than you think. Remember that this usually happens in stage 3 of 6 stages. If you've made it halfway through the process, you're ready. 2. Break the change into one aligned step. Not the full transformation, just the next decision. Like I always say, just wake up every day and do the next right thing. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I advise you to break it down into steps or phases and focus on the next thing you need to do instead of looking at the end goal. 3. Stay anchored in what you already know. It can be tempting to return to confusion when movement feels uncomfortable, but clarity is still there. I'd recommend looking at what you need to do. Decide if you want to continue on that path, if there's another route to take, if you even want the results of that plan, or if you want to create another goal. 4. Accept the discomfort of transition. This is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's what this stage of change can feel like. It's important to be an observer in your own life. Notice the feelings, feel the feelings, then release them and move forward with your change plan. 5. Let movement build confidence. Confidence doesn't come first. Action creates it. As I've often said, observe milestones and celebrate them during the process. These pauses can build momentum by allowing you to see where you started and all the progress you've already made. If you've made it to stage 3 of the change process, you don't need more clarity. You need to trust the clarity you already have. Many women come to me when they're in this exact space. Clarity is gained, but movement hasn't happened yet, and it can be hard for them to understand why. Is there anything in this conversation speaking to you? If so, I'm beyond honored to be part of your discovery process. If you've been quietly listening to these conversations, I invite you to follow the show on whichever platform you use so these moments can meet you when you need them. Becoming Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment is recognized among the top Elegance Podcasts of 2026 by Feedspot. If this discussion resonates, I invite you to begin with my new book, Becoming Lavishly Loving. If you're ready to explore your situation more personally, the Clarity Reset is available to you without an application. If you host a podcast or lead a community and feel this conversation would resonate, I'd be honored to be part of that. You can find all the details for these at becomingpublishing.com. This is where awareness begins to become something more. This moment you're in, where you know something needs to change, but you haven't moved yet, it isn't a failure. It's a threshold. The important thing is to realize that what you choose to do here determines everything that comes next. Thank you so much for spending time with me on Becoming Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment. If something in today's conversation spoke to you and deeper focused support feels right, I invite you to explore private coaching at becomingpublishing.com. Until next time, stay elegant, stay empowered.
Becoming the magnet.